Salutations and welcome to Kids Clips. Apologies and forgiving in the moral void that is the internet. So I got thinking about this idea of the modern apology, specifically insofar as it's done online. So I guess the virtual apology. When I came across a British influencer and fitness guru called Elle Darby. And the entire scandal and situation around Elle Darby made me think of the following question. Why are online apologies so terribly received, even when arguably they are realistically well done? And I thought about this when I commented on a video that Elle Darby did after she had taken about 6 months off the internet following a rather outrageous scandal. Elle Darby is a 26-year-old mother of one who rose to fame after her weight loss journey began to gain traction online. She was still a teenager when she started posting to YouTube. To understand the culture that Elle Darby comes from, we can look to this short documentary made about her titled "A Tubby Teenager Has Transformed Herself into a Super Fit Model and Fitness Trainer."
When I was about 14, I had really bad health issues and I was really overweight and I was just generally really unhappy. I was sick and tired of being the girl that was always really unhappy with her weight. I felt sick with myself, I felt sick with my body. It was when I was just about to move to university and I just looked at myself in the mirror and I just thought I was just genuinely really unhappy.
Elle Darby was called out after tweets were unearthed as well as now deleted videos posted in around 2011 when Elle was 17 years old. These tweets and now deleted videos were noticeably vile and discriminatory. They discriminated against basically every single group of people under the sun. Nobody was left unscathed by her remarks. The Scots and Irish weren't even immune to her particular brand of bigotry. Now, I think we can all agree that these tweets and remarks were disgusting, and I think we can simultaneously also agree that she was clearly a very angry and rather horrid 17-year-old, at least online. Considering that the media was making short documentaries about teenagers, specifically her, titled "Tubby Teenager," and that she clearly craved attention at any cost, whether that be in losing weight or discriminating against any group that she seemed to happen upon, it's clear that she was not an exception and that she was very much molded by the culture on the internet at the time. Not that much has changed necessarily. So Elle came out with a particularly short apology video about 6 months ago, and she's only recently just come back online after losing well over 100,000 subscribers on her Instagram and about the same amount, I would say, on YouTube. The online response to Elle Darby, specifically after her apology video and even now to this day, interests me greatly because it represents the sort of playing out of a just world fallacy or the just world theory, or I guess also called the belief in a just world theory. And I noticed this recently when I was going through her channel, watching her videos, just thinking about the phenomena of Elle Darby and the online apology. And she posted a video about her hen do. She's engaged, she's about to get married, and her friends planned a very British hen do. Now, if you're not British, you probably don't know, but British hen do's are cultural entities in and of themselves. They are quite bizarre and outrageous, and they intrigue me because I have never seen anything quite like it. And so I left a comment on this video specifically in relation to hen do's, and the comment reads as follows: "No shade at all. This is the most British thing I have ever seen. Nobody does a hen do like the British. Even if you're black British like me, you always end up blonde, spray tanned, and calling everybody babes with a bottle of Prosecco." Now, I thought this comment was quite neutral. I wasn't in any way commenting or referring to her scandals. I was just making a light-hearted comment about something that I found rather intriguing and that I probably will always find intriguing, because even when I am confronted with hen doers, when I'm just out and about, I transform into a person that I did not even know lived within me. But the response to this comment prompted me to make this short clip. After what she said about black people, you still watch her? Mad. Cringe. Are you for real? After what she said about black people, wow. And I'm not even black, but I was fucking disgusted. Now, as I said, this got me thinking about something called the just world fallacy or theory, or belief in a just world theory, because I've noticed that this is everywhere online. I especially see this in the true crime community, especially when we look at the psychology behind the popularity and obsession with true crime in this day and age. Psychologists have explained our contemporary obsession with true crime content from the perspective of the especially female audience watching. This audience, psychologically at least, tends to watch this content in order to try and avoid whatever fate befell the poor victim. There is this tendency in all true crime content to either, on the first hand, blame the victim for getting themselves into such a situation, for falling or being intrigued by such a demonic, horrible, evil, murderous person, or more commonly, there's a tendency by documentarians and by true crime creators to focus on the perpetrator, thus dismissing the victim altogether. The characteristics, the traits, the pathology, the psychology of the perpetrator is the most important and intriguing thing. We remember the names of the likes of Ted Bundy, not of his victims. And I think the reason why true crime content has flourished on YouTube, on social media in general, and also why the likes of apologies are not received at all well online, is because of the moral void which we find ourselves in. Never in my life did I think I'd be able to relate Elle Darby and her apology video, a British influencer, to true crime content, but here we are. There are no rules and regulations in place beyond a social media platform trying to protect its business interests. There are no universal or trusted moral rules or normative regulations in place. And I think this is because there are firstly so many people on social media, but also because the internet is the perfect example of globalization, and also why globalization has worked, because globalization doesn't revolve around communities, it doesn't revolve around nationalism. It goes beyond that into the sort of postmodern terrain of questioning every single truth, of there effectively being no truth, in the interest of making money and establishing economic ties. The internet is, in so many words, the globalization of virtual bodies and space. So when we bring morality into the equation, it is not a clear-cut process. And I think this is also why a just world fallacy flourishes online, because there isn't really any other alternative or any other explanation for why particular people do certain things, why certain things happen online, that sort of thing. Just world theorizing is interesting. Individuals need to believe in a just world to deal with witnessed or experienced injustice, helplessness, and insecurity. The theory assumes that people want to believe that they live in a world where good things happen to good people and bad things only to bad ones, and where therefore everyone harvests what they sow. This belief is essential for people to feel safe and positive and to perceive the world as a predictable and manageable place. Therefore, the BJW normally serves an adaptive function. So in order to cope with social media, we are quick to apply just world theory to our interactions and to the standards which we project onto influencers. At least that's my opinion. And I guess for me, this never works because we are trying to bring morality into a domain that is inherently incapable of consistently and fairly regulating moral standards. For instance, another influencer called Miasaurus has been involved in a scandal where it's basically been discovered that she faked her entire life. Every single thing, nothing that she has said online has in any way been true. She was a storytime YouTuber, I believe, and the internet has effectively forgiven her overnight. She has faced literally no real backlash. Yet Elle Darby, on the other other hand, faced considerable backlash. So why is the standard so different for different influencers, different people? And that is difficult to explain, I think. We can see this, for instance, with the response that my comment got. I love it when people not at all implicated in racism directed toward my race tell me how I ought to respond to said racism and call me cringe and mad for not responding in the way they deem fit.
Disgusting!
Life. And what this all boils down to, I guess, is a conversation about forgiveness. Without forgiveness, there would be no point to our actions. If we knew that our words and actions led to ruin or to negative consequences, we would not be inclined to act at all. We wouldn't participate in relationships. We wouldn't participate in society. And according to Hannah Arendt, forgiveness is essential and it is exceptional because it is the one trait and thing that human beings can do which can actually reverse the irreversible. It permits relationships to begin anew. It allows lessons to be learned, and also for a renewed and deeper understanding between two parties. And I would even go as far as to say that without forgiveness, we rarely end up in this loop that I see on social media playing out time and time again. When you don't feel forgiven, or you don't feel the prospect that you will be forgiven for something that you did, something that you honestly feel sorry for, then what is the point in even feeling sorry? What is the point in even asking for forgiveness? What is the point of anything? And I saw this when Elle Darby posted a video recently just talking about the work which she's been doing, about how she has reflected over the past 6 months. And she relayed quite a harrowing time in her life in which she actually wanted to end her life, even though she was surrounded by such happiness and such love.
I was looking at my gorgeous baby boy, you know, surrounded by a man that loves me, my 2 dogs, everything I own, like, and I was sat there and I just thought, I actually just don't even want to be here anymore. And I think when Connor kind of pulled me out of it, I think that's when I really realised something has to change. Like, what is worth anybody feeling like they don't want to be here anymore.
And this, for me at least, is the loop. If an influencer online believes that nobody is going to consider their apology sincere, that they're going to receive death threats from strangers and will constantly be branded as their error or their awful behavior, why would they apologize sincerely in the first place? And on Elle's channel, it's definitely evident that there are two polarizing camps. Those who dogmatically support Elle and think that the whole world is out to get her and them, and those who firmly subscribe to this idea that she is a bad person and that nothing that she does will ever be good enough. And the more that this loop is reinforced, the more polarizing these groups become and the more dogmatic they become. And I think this is all down to, as I said, the moral void that is the internet, but also the fact that we are not very good at projecting our real life behavior onto the internet. It feels like forgiveness is a thing of the past. And I feel that our inability to forgive or to practice normal standards of social interaction online is going to seep its way into our lives offline. And that would be a terrible thing. I guess the question that this raises for me and that I would like to raise for you is, do you think it is possible to forgive a stranger online? Because Elle Darby is a stranger to all of her followers, and social media has definitely brought this whole thing into the forefront for me. What do you think? Thank you so much for listening to this kids clip, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.